So our first pitch tonight is from the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, and we'll be speaking to Njeri Gateru. Anti-LGBTQ+ sentiment is spreading across East Africa, fueled by the religious right, including Western groups. NGLHRC have reported a huge upsurge in cases of human rights violations against sexual and gender minorities received by their Legal Aid Centre. They provide legal representation and support to challenge and prevent discrimination based on SOGI, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression in Kenya. Please give a big hand and a warm welcome to Njeri.
Good evening. I thought I was going last, so but this is what life looks like for a queer like me in Kenya. My name is Njeri Gateru. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. I work for a small organization with a huge name called the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission. We're formed in 2012 and have been operating since basically 2013. And part of the reason why we started the work with the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, again, really long name, is that we found ourselves working, my co-founder and I worked for a refugee organization, and we found ourselves working specifically with clients who are LGBTIQ, but specifically who'd moved from Uganda to Kenya because of the threat then of the Anti-Homosexuality Act that had been put in place then. It's since reversed, but then, as we know, there's now a new similar law that has really horrible effects for people like us in Uganda. So the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, the commission, let's call it the commission from now on, works to provide legal aid, legal support, legal interventions for people like me. What we do is that we engage in a lot of work that seeks to expand the right space and access to justice for LGBTIQ persons in Kenya. Here's the problem. Kenya is one of the 64 countries in the world, I think now less, maybe 63, that criminalize homosexuality. A lot of these countries are actually part of the Commonwealth, unfortunately. And also more than about half of these countries are also in Africa. So we have a 14-year jail term for people who are found guilty of engaging in what they call carnal knowledge against the order of nature. And unfortunately, what this means for Kenyans is an understanding that queer people are criminals, right? And so these laws create a situation where it is justified, people feel justified to abuse, to violate, to be, horrible people to LGBTQ persons. What also the government has made sure to do is to not act and to make certain that people are aware that there is a lot of impunity for violations against LGBTQ people. I'll give you an example. In February of this year, the immediate former governor of Kenya, Nairobi, his name is Mike Sonko, Nairobi being the capital of our huge republic, put a bounty, basically, and said that he would pay the equivalent of 500 USD for any person who sent him pictures of videos of them violating a queer person. And for certain in my country, people did send videos. And what he did is he reshared the videos, and he also would send screenshots of him sending this amount to the people who were doing these heinous crimes. This person has never been arrested. He's not being prosecuted in any shape or form. The most that we've been able to do is to have his Facebook page taken down, right? This is February 2023. This obviously has meant that there's been such a huge spike in the number of violations that we're seeing across the country. It's also coupled by the rise of the anti-gender movement. And basically what we've seen is there has been a specific report and a specific effort for there to be a further law that criminalizes homosexuality in Kenya. It's in its draft form. It is awaiting tabling at the Kenyan Parliament. It is called the Family Protection Bill. Sit with that for a moment, right? Horrible. Everyone looks so sad. Why, I wonder? Listen, it's not all gloom there. There's rainbows, the sun shines, the weather is delicious, the food is great. We're excellent runners. Not me, not me. But my organization and other organizations do extremely important and, should I say, wonderful work. I work in a team of 9 that seeks to provide pro bono legal support for LGBTQ people. We see an average of 500 to 600 people in a year. And unless it's a year like this, where we have so far seen over 1,000 clients who engage in strategic litigation. We do high interest, high visibility public interest litigation to better the lives of queer people in Kenya and to basically try to ensure a universe of equals. We engage in documentation of human rights violation. We conduct research. We engage with stakeholders. We work with judges and magistrates to sort of try to teach them on, try to train them on how to engage on sexual orientation, gender identity issues. We work with universities. We run an annual moot competition and an annual debate competition to basically try to prepare the next generation of litigators in the country. We engage in a lot of advocacy, both at the local level, at the regional level, and even at the global level with the United Nations. We've had immense wins over the last few years. We have been successful in banning what is called forced anal examinations, which had been a horrible practice that was being used by our judiciary to sort of obtain evidence to be able to charge people with the said crimes that I talked about, with the natural offenses. With recently, this February, after a 10-year court case, have been able to secure a win where the Supreme Court allowed for us to be registered as an LGBTIQ organization with the words gay and lesbian in our title. It was a huge, huge win after a long time. 10 years is a long time of work. We have represented. Thank you. Thank you. We have represented over 4,000 clients and 1,000 this year, and have been able to engage in a lot of litigation. We've been able to secure release of prisoners. We've been able to engage in spaces where people have been expelled from schools. They've been denied their right to health. They've been refused employment because of their sexual orientation and gender identity. We've been involved in issues of custody, disinheritance, all of these things having to do with people's sexual orientation or gender identity. And we are winning. And I think part of the reason why there has been so much pushback and how much we've seen a lot of people try to rise back is because of how much we have won over the years. I want to give you an example of the ways that I think and I've seen the system be skewed against people like me. I met a client of ours her name is Gia. In 2015, she was 19 years old. I met her when we were doing civic education and we're trying to teach queers about the law and their rights. Gia called me 2 days post our meeting and said that she had been arrested. She'd gone to a police station to report her phone being stolen and had ended up arrested. The reason why she got arrested is because after reporting her phone lost to the policeman, they called her mother to pick her up. And her mother said, "My child is not a woman. Keep her and ask her why she's dressed the way she is." And so basically allowing or encouraging the police to take terrible action against this, her child. Gia was beaten up. And what I remember is that the day, 2 days before when we were together, I'd commented on how lovely her nails were. They were really well done, really long. And by the time we were able to get to Gia, she'd already been moved from the police station to a mental hospital. And what had happened is that the police had not only beaten her up, they'd taken off her nails, they'd pulled them off, right? Again, sadness, sorrows, press. This is not the only case. There's a happy ending to this story. We're able to get Gia out. We threatened to sue everybody and anybody. We didn't end up suing everybody and anybody, unfortunately, but we're able to get her out. Gia is now happily living in sunny LA and living her best life. I think also of another client who's not as lucky as Gia. Sheila Lumumba is a non-binary lesbian who was murdered last year. To the right, to your right, there's a picture of two people leaning into each other. Those are Sheila's parents. This picture was taken about less than a month ago when we were representing them in court and we were representing the interests of the family. We have walked the journey of seeking justice for their child since this case came to us. With Sheila's case, what strikes me and what continues to lean into me is that this might end up being any of our parents, any of our siblings, any of our friends, if we don't continue to do the work that we're trying to do to hold the line. We're at a really precarious position where we're existing in a terrible situation, and there's a lot of motivation to make that terrible situation worse. As I said, remember the guy with the 500 USD bounty? And I look at this room and I wonder, Alan, how much bounty would this be? $110,000. Someone is willing to give that amount of money for there to not be a conversation like this happening in my country. And that's allowable, and the government is not willing to do anything. I hope you're willing to do something. I hope you will do something today. Thank you.